Welcome to the Colosseum, your hub of health, wellness, and performance.
Welcome back to episode number 4. To break it down today, we're going to have a segment of quick hits that we kind of surf the web and go through and see feats of human performance and see what's going on in terms of health, wellness, and performance within the social media space. And then we'll get into our main headlines for the day, which is a 600-kilometer run by a Red Bull athlete. Strength training study reveals strength and fitness start to fade at around 35 years old.
Mm.
And New York Post discussing enhanced games wants to make performance enhancing drugs mainstream. And we're going to kind of discuss how that is important and what they really mean by that. So,
Pretty solid headlines for today's show. Today we actually started off. Well, we said we were going to do the sprints last episode. We were going to do it during the week. We ended up moving them to today and doing the sprints like before for the assault bike. And it's a different experience than the Norwegian 4x4.
yeah, for sure.
Um, I mean, with the Norwegian 4x4, it is hard, but like this one, like you have so much more lactate buildup in your
Yeah.
in your legs,
hmm
and like for me, like my lungs just felt like they were on fire.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. We definitely haven't sprinted like in that fashion in a while.
Mm-mm.
And
It's just
so,
so it's funny. I was thinking like when we first walked in, I was thinking like, oh yeah, we'll do it for a minute. That's fine. And
yeah,
you're like, no, dude, what are you talking about?
there's no way.
And then as soon as we did 20 seconds, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
hmm
That
I
makes
wonder
sense.
like if we would want to, obviously, we'd probably do more than 8 rounds. Like, we'd probably go up. I guess you'd progressively overload.
Yeah, I think as we get better at it, we would definitely go up in rounds for sure. Probably go up to like, what do you think, like 10?
I don't know. Maybe so.
Yeah, probably like 10 at some point, and then like a deload.
hmm
But show. Um, Today's first quick hit we have coming to the show is a post we saw from Jake talking about how he ran the Stony 100 miler, which was 20 hours and 38 minutes for him, and it was 400 laps around a track. So he signed up for this race on a whim on my drive back from Florida, coming off a 100-mile week. With every race and life, I live by two rules: do all I can and do it to the absolute best I can. Left it all out there. Ever since I woke up in my late teens, early 20s, I knew there was more to being a drug addict, undisciplined, unmotivated, sad little prick. And from that, the thought of failure has ate me alive 24/7. Behind every cocky reel is a wake up call to my young self or others who were in similar shoes to me, who want to see their potential at its highest. And once you get a taste of who you could be, you just can't unfeel that. This race broke me down many times to some brutal lows, but that's the beauty in it, seeing how deep you can dig.
Yeah. I mean, he's basically just highlighting, like, he's been representing how far you can go. And then people that are interested in changing their life, he's kind of like that megaphone, like, hey, here's what you can do.
Hmm.
It's obviously like one sided. And I found like this is a pretty unique. It's pretty common. Like, some people, like he in specific, like his lens is straight up through like training strength and like long endurance bouts, and that like gets him into the point where he's pushing himself to the edge, and
Hmm.
like there's not really many other ways to do that. And it's important to get in a perspective where you can push yourself to the edge, but it's like find it your way, whether that be studying unbelievable amounts or whatever it may be.
Yeah. I also think there's like that good balance too, though. Like
In terms of what?
like pushing yourself to your edge, but
hmm
then reeling yourself back to realize like what you learned from what you just did.
hmm
Because sometimes like you could use this as a way of just, and I am currently and have always done this a lot actually. You just keep yourself so busy, or you push yourself so far to where it's like you don't even know like why am I doing this? Like, I think it's important to reflect on that and like always be mindful of that because you could just use it as a guard to put up and like just not even worry about your own self.
Hmm. Yeah. But
At
like
least
in
in
his
my
case,
experience.
like, what do you think? Why do you think he's doing it?
To me, I mean, it sounds like he's doing it in order to, because I mean, he said like there's more to life than being a drug addict and undisciplined, unmotivated. He sees it as more of something positive for his own life rather than going down that route of a drug addict or
Right.
someone who's
And
like
so
a
like he's
degenerate,
kind of at like
basically.
two lanes, and it's like, well, I could be drug addict, all this stuff, but I'm gonna go do this. And
Exactly.
his, idea of it is like health, wellness, like go all in on these long runs.
Hmm.
But that's not to say like someone that was a drug addict can't be an insane skateboarder.
No,
Or like you have like multiple lanes. It's like his lane was health and fitness.
right.
And so other people can choose their own lanes. And to your point, you're saying like it's important not to go all in.
Well,
Because I guess I'm a little confused on that
yeah,
one.
yeah. Okay, so basically, like, it's important to go all in, right? Once you've pushed yourself to that limit, to that breaking point, I think there's a time when you need to kind of step back and see what you did and learn from what you did because you could just keep doing that and then you're just stuck in this
But
loop.
wouldn't a breaking point be the end?
Yes, but I think because with me, like personally, like it's just like I could just keep going and like I never even think about anything else except this one thing. So it's like I'm like constantly just pushing myself to this edge and never, it's like I'm never even, it's almost like I'm never even reaching the edge. It's like the edge just keeps going and going and going. And I just keep chasing, chasing, chasing. And it's like,
But
when
I
do,
would say from like a perspective, it's like the reason why there is no edge is because you're focusing on a small detail
Mm,
instead of the whole product.
yeah,
And so like when you
that's
say you feel like there is no edge, is because I think that maybe you're probably not like expanding outside of this small detail.
right.
And so there is no way to expand to even reach the edge.
Yeah,
And so you're keeping yourself busy in a very small way. And just because you're busy, you feel accomplished in a way.
right. Yeah, that's a great point.
Hmm.
No, I completely agree with that, actually. But yes, again, that's just kind of my whole perspective on it, you know,
Well, like, I don't know how this relates to that though. That's the only thing I'm confused about.
because he talks about pushing himself to the very edge,
Right. Yeah. So, like,
right?
yeah, I get that. But I'm saying, like, okay, so if he's pushing himself to the edge,
Hmm.
like, what is he not gaining from it? In a way, like, you compare to yourself, it's a currently, maybe you feel like you're focusing on one thing
Hmm.
and you're like going all in and you're not really like reflecting.
Yes.
And so, like, is it similar to this?
Well, I think you could see this, right? His endurance
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
being like such a good thing, like him, like which I'm not going to say it's a bad thing, but you could see it as being this really good thing and be super addicted to it, to where again, like with me, it's the only little thing you think about.
Hmm.
And it's like this, it's still kind of maintained this addict personality to that one thing when also what I'm saying is he's not in the specific situation. Okay. But I'm saying it's important that when you hear about this stuff or like when you want to do these things, like, yes, go all in. I 100% agree. But you need to get to a point where you can come back to yourself, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because
I mean,
you could really like lose yourself.
yeah. What if you find yourself? And that's how most
Well,
people do.
then you did it. But like with
So the
me,
goal is to find yourself.
but some people don't find it. Like me, I didn't necessarily find myself. I technically lost myself.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like
S-
two sides of the coin.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like,
I'm just trying to like break it down
yeah,
so that everyone can truly understand.
right,
Because, so your point is there's two sides of the coin,
right.
and like some people can go all in and they can achieve or they can find themselves in a good way.
Hmm.
And then on the other side, you're saying you could go all in and you get so lost into it that you never actually took time to reflect and find yourself.
Correct.
And so, like for examples like this,
Hmm.
his mind, he came from a tough spot and he's in a position where he's sure he's pushing himself to the edge, but he's also gaining, like monetization and followers and all this excellent stuff that's provided a good life for him.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
good.
you can look at a perspective of say like this really did work out for him
Hmm.
because now he is the megaphone and he is showing, yes, like this worked for me and you can apply this same blueprint but not in the exact same way if you
Hmm.
choose not to, but you can and you can really try. And this could be, worth it for you. And not in terms of money, but in terms of getting away from that.
Yeah.
And then I think along the way, you say, okay, well, this was like a good 1 year, spurt of you trying this. And is it really me? Maybe not, but it taught me a lot. And then in
Hmm.
your terms, you're saying, let's reflect on this a little bit and let's start picking up some puzzle pieces from my old self and let's put them back together in a healthy way. And now we can apply them to my own formulated way and how can healthily view life now
Yes.
through this 1 year spurt of experience and life changing moments.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you explained that perfectly. But either way, though, 400 laps of track around the track, pretty
Either
insane.
way, 100 or 400 laps, it's
400
psychotic,
laps.
but it seems like it would be fun, dude. I really am interested in trying some of this like hard stuff. It'd be fun.
Oh yeah. I
I
mean,
haven't pushed myself to the edge in a while.
we both talked about, we both signed up for the BPN Ultra, Backyard Ultra a long time ago.
Yeah.
And, sadly we didn't get picked, but
Hmm.
we've always wanted to try, something that really goes far, like
Yeah.
past the marathon.
Yeah. The only thing is like you just have to understand like there's certain seasons in your life and it's like if you sign up for an ultra
Hmm.
or a G1M ultra, whatever the backyard ultra,
Right.
like it's gonna be you're gonna have to, well, the way we look at it, we actually are gonna train for it at the highest capacity possible.
Hmm.
And so then it like everything else in your life gets put on hold.
Right.
And we've done that so many times that like we can, but it's not really smart to do it anymore. That's
Yeah.
part of the reason why we stopped and we took a step back from running. This is because we went through like multiple high rocks races, multiple half marathon, then marathon training. I got injured, dropped out, trained for
Hmm.
another marathon, got injured, dropped out. Half marathon, did that, did the high rocks races. And like for 2 years straight, we were just doing nothing but training.
Right.
And it was super fun. But then it got to a point where like, okay, well, like what is my value to the world other than me just chasing a number?
Yeah. How am I
And
benefiting others?
yeah, and then so then you start to look at it in a world of service, and then you look at, okay, well, what is my purpose here? And I think I've talked to you about this, where it's like I was listening to a podcast and like to find your purpose and not so much like searching for your purpose, but it's like I heard someone say on a podcast, I can't remember which podcast it was, but it's like, how do you want to impact the world? And it's like a simple sentence, and it's like, do you want to leave the world impacting anyone around you or just like floating? And I was like, yeah, like I don't want to just consistently live a life where it doesn't feel like I'm impacting people, like not in a way that's
Right.
like it makes me feel like I'm better than anyone, but in a way it's like, yeah, like people have helped me. I want to make sure I'm helping other people too.
Right.
And we all have been there where like we have that feeling of like we do wish someone was there to help. we do wish there was better access to communities and whatnot. So it's like creating that or reaching your hand out there and showing how you could impact other
Hmm.
people.
Yeah.
That's something is like, okay, let's get started on that,
Yeah.
and building a life that's very fruitful in that way.
Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't have, well, I mean, I think I would love for it to, and I think you would too, like reach every single person in the world.
Hmm.
But if we could impact people's lives around us in any amount of people, I think we're in the right direction, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's with anybody. I think
Yeah.
it gives you it's a sense of purpose,
Yeah.
you know? And that's like one of the most foundational things you, you are as a human, right? Is like finding that sense of purpose, or I guess it's more like creating a sense of purpose rather than finding. But yeah, because the only way you'll find that purpose is by creating a situation where you in turn find the purpose.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's more
you've built the
so
framework to, like, in a way, let the purpose arrive,
right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is super interesting that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, and it's like, yeah, just providing service is something that would be, or that is very cool and genuine. And it's also like along the way, you meet great people.
Yeah.
And it's not like a life of like soulless, like, let's look at how many Instagram clicks and all this stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you definitely want to have a bigger reason to do things. And also, like, in your terms of like, you wouldn't want like, you sure you would want like everyone in the world. And then it's like you may have to have a smaller circle. But I don't even know if I think of it that way. Like, I just think of
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, what am I truly feeling? And like, what do I believe could help other people?
Yeah.
And along the way, you may find that either it helps 10 people or it helps, 200 million people.
Yeah.
And either way, you're from your firm perspective and belief, like you're producing a product where it's creative and you believe, it can help people. And that's just kind of how it is. I don't really try to like look at a perspective how many people can we
Mm-hmm.
touch. I think it's just that's the product. Like
Yeah.
however many people you get is perfect because whatever you sought out to do at the original point is working for those specific set of people.
Yeah. And the whole goal at the foundational level was to service,
Right.
right? And as long as you're completing that, you are achieving that goal, right? So we will be moving to our next topic here. Just a little post from Hunter here, talking or doing 100 reps of 30-pound wall balls. You
So
love to
he's
see
been
it.
doing these, what is it called? Man camps, he calls them.
Yeah, they're like
And
man
so
camps at altitude.
he uh he gets a lot of his buddies, and he actually had a YouTube video explaining this. And these are people that are way younger than him, and he actually said it's very funny. We should have pulled this clip up,
Hmm.
but he was talking about mentorship and how a lot of guys his age have no soul and they lack good ability to be a mentor to the youth. And it's exactly what we were talking about last episode, I believe,
Yeah, that's right.
or maybe episode
It was
two.
episode 2.
Episode two, and yeah, we're already on episode 4.
Yeah, pretty
That's
insane.
crazy. And so he brings on these people that are, athletes, and they're younger than him, and he shows them really how to dig in and train. And you're around a group of great people, all serving one another. And he said, like, screw the phones and all that stuff. It's all about just being there for your buddies and having a community. And that's like, it's so unique because this guy's one of the greatest athletes in the world. And that's his mindset, you know, to build a community. He said money doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Just build the community. Get people around each other. And it's so true because and he's so authentic. He's funny. He lives life in a great way. He's positive all the time. And I envy that. I really do.
Yeah, seriously.
Like in my opinion, he's a great human being. And he's got a lot of things like that work out for him. But he's a great dude and he's still reaching out his hand and helping other people around him get better. He's training to come back as a world champion that he's failed multiple times at, but he's never stopped training.
Yeah.
He's always going in, and he's still, with his back against the wall, he's still helping others. And like that's a fruitful life right there.
Yeah.
Like that's awesome.
It's so important to pass on that knowledge to
Yeah.
others,
I just
especially when you've been to that highest level,
Mhm.
like you've been there. Why not share
Yeah.
that info with others to help them? Maybe you maybe even further down the road, you see them even surpass what you could have ever done using the knowledge that you brought to them so they don't go through the same mistakes. Like that stuff's important.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you don't have it now, like let's say for us two, we're
Mhm.
not gonna go and like say, okay, we're gonna mentor you and train you up to be this. Well, we're not even that yet. So what do
Exactly.
we do? We seek mentorship, and then for the people around us, we become a community that is we're all aligned in the same path. And we can just talk about everything in life that we're going through and bounce ideas off our mentorships that we've sought out,
Mhm.
while also having a direct community to conversate and never be in a place where you feel alone.
Mm.
And so it's like that's the way you can do it if you're not a Hunter McIntyre, because it's
Right.
also up to the people that aren't there yet to seek mentorship.
Mhm.
Like episode 2, we talked about mentorship, and you don't just get handed a mentor.
Mm-mm.
You have to seek
No.
it out.
Yeah, you 100% you do.
You have to ask people. It's people that you admire. You have to go out there and see, hey, like, would you want to do this? Set up a time once a month and talk to them. It doesn't have to be in person. It could be online. Everything's digital and you can do whatever you want. And it's like,
Mhm.
just find a way to ask somebody questions that is doing better than you and see what they think. And funny enough, like, because I do have a mentor and you'll ask him questions and it's like, he's been through it. And he reassures me every time,
Yeah.
stay the course, like what you're feeling is what I felt during this time. And I am extremely lucky,
Yeah.
to have a mentor like him. And just the ability to ask someone questions that has the same alignment as you. And sure, he has a different like perspective on life, but he's very aligned with growing and understanding things and not being a part of the normal situation that everyone else, could be in.
Mhm.
And even just as a man, you ask a question and he's already lived 30, 40 years ahead of you,
Right.
then you have the opportunity to really get some wisdom from that.
Yeah. Yeah, and to your point about like, you're not just handed a mentor.
Mhm.
Like in my personal experience, I mean, I still don't really have like a mentor per se.
Mhm.
And it's because, well, haven't even searched for a mentor.
Yep.
I
It's the same thing with life, right?
exactly.
You want this like crazy cool job
Hmm.
and you want to do these amazing things. Well, you know, I totally get the idea of like affirmations and putting it out into the world, but none of that exists without action.
Right.
And so at the very foundational level, you got to figure out what you can do day by day to get
Hmm.
closer to that goal.
Right.
Then the things will start working out for you. But sitting back and saying like, let's just manifest it and all this stuff, it's not going to work out that way.
Mm.
You have to seek it out.
Yeah. I think it's important to have that guide, but doing the action for sure is what's going to get you the outcome you want.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, sure, like you could be handed ideas and like the universe, if you believe in that kind of stuff, like the universe hands you ideas. But unless you take action on that idea, it's just going to be transferred to the next person, according to Rick Rubin, of course. But
Rick Rubin. Yeah.
yeah. Um, Next, we have a post we saw from, it was actually Harvey Lewis reposted it, but it was this older gentleman. He ran Badwater back in 2022 and then came back about, wow, how many years is that? 4 years later and ran it again. But when he was 77 and ran it the first time, he ended up DNFing. Now he finished the race completely, but he didn't finish it within the time window. So he was considered an official DNF. But as you could see, his back literally gave out the first time, and he just started bear crawling all the way to the end. Then he comes back 4 years, 7, 8, 9, 10, 3 years later, and finishes actually 3 hours faster, which, you know, again, we have the study that's going to be talking about age decline at 35. But I mean, you see this guy, 77 to 80, has just shaved off 3 hours from his Badwater race in 3 years. So there's still some improvements you can make no matter the age.
Yeah, I just noticed whenever he finished the first race, he was sitting in a chair. They gave that dude a Modelo.
Did they really?
I mean, that's the last thing he needs. That guy needs medical attention.
Dude, seriously. Yeah, if your back's giving out, you don't need no Modelo, bro.
They sat him down and said, "Here's a Modelo, bro."
That's
After
awesome.
he just like went through hell,
Yeah.
and he's like holding the bottle, he was shaking. Yeah, not ideal.
Not ideal. No. Just thought that was kind of cool though. You guys can do whatever you want to. Like literally just put your mind to it. Next we have a post that I thought was pretty cool. It's this place called Farm Fitness. So it's based out of the UK. And it's this really like outside, like agriculture inspired gym. And it's all based around high rocks. So they have like trails, like big turf, rowers set up everywhere. And this is like kind of like one of my dreams to have a gym that's like just like this or similar.
Yeah, this is very CrossFit-esque.
Yeah. Now like I said, it's very focused on high rocks. So it's
I
like
don't know.
all
This looks
their
very CrossFit-y.
no, like like if you go to their like website, like
Mm-hmm.
their club is high rocks.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
didn't know why they were doing like toes to bar and
Well, I think it's just I mean, because I did toes to bar in the Haas training that Hunter McIntyre had. It's
I
probably
see.
just a really good core workout.
Yeah, it looks like some of it was like CrossFit-y. That's why I was saying that.
Yeah.
But
Hell, maybe most of these people are on the Haas training program.
maybe so.
Who knows? Which is a great program, by the way.
It is pretty cool. It's just like in the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. It really literally is like in the middle of nowhere in UK. But that would be so fun. And it's like they build a community around it. Like they have like
Yeah.
this whole little like group of people who probably go to the gym not every day,
Yeah,
but
basically what we want is exactly what CrossFit had, but not CrossFit.
right. Yeah, because CrossFit's a little much.
Well,
Like
yeah.
I
It's
don't.
good, but I just don't know if I don't want to be like stuck in that little zone.
Mhm.
Like if I just want to have a nice gym that has it all.
Yeah,
I don't want to have to be like, okay, well, when people come into the gym, this is a CrossFit gym.
yeah,
Like, no, we don't want that. We want people to really be able to kind of hit it all, like in a functional way,
right.
without it being labeled as CrossFit, and you have to like be a part of the class. And there's so many barriers. That's why like CrossFit's almost like a cult.
100%. But I also like to CrossFit's point. Like I also just don't. I don't really enjoy their workouts, and I think that's what
Yeah.
you're saying. Like
Mm-hmm.
they just it's so like you have to be a CrossFitter to work out here. So it's like, well, you're really catering to a real specific niche here. Like, where's your outreach?
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yeah, it's also just like the entry. Like you'll get like some out of shape people
mhm.
that go into CrossFit, but it's like, dude, they're gonna get injured in the first 3 weeks. I mean, there's no way.
Oh yeah, especially those what are they called? The snatches where you have to do
Yeah,
that
but
stuff.
dude, they have to do so many like movements that are just not safe for unathletic people. So the reason why there's like a barrier is because like you have to actually be somewhat of a good athlete,
Yeah, yeah, you
or at
definitely have
least
to be
like your
skilled,
technique. But in reality, like you don't need much to become healthy and functional. You can
right?
do it in a much smarter way than CrossFit, in my opinion.
Right.
And like High
Well,
Rocks is like its own different thing. Like you're not gonna bring in a group for a full year to be
mhm.
training High Rocks. You're gonna be bringing them in for 8 to 16 weeks at a time, training for a specific race.
Yeah.
And then the off season, like you're just going to be making, strength training, some conditioning, building a base. Like then it just goes into functional.
Right.
And so there's like two different things where you're not having to go full like CrossFit all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that really is the beauty of High Rocks, right? Like it really is adaptable.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to be so niche all the time throughout the year.
Right.
No, it's like to your point, like you said in your opinion, but really like even in studies like we've seen, like it
Hmm.
really is like there's factual evidence out there now. Like it's super easy to just be healthy and
Hmm.
it doesn't take a lot of effort.
Yeah. And I guess we can really get into this because like for a gym, in my opinion, to be perfect, like it's not like it needs to be a Planet Fitness where like it truly does serve everybody and you can have pizza, whatever.
Yeah.
It just needs to be an environment where you can go to like decompress
Hmm.
as an option. You can go to recover as an option. You can go in and really put in the work as an option.
Yeah.
And you can have a great place for a community.
Hmm.
And you like really layer all those things on top of each other where it's like you're seeing these gym spaces. A lot of them, like you don't see the traffic as you would think. And it's like you see the growth in the market and you're not seeing these crazy, like this foot traffic, especially in like certain cities. Obviously, in the bigger cities, they have that.
Hmm.
But I believe in the next 5 years, we'll see a bigger transition to where that will become, there will be a lot more foot traffic. But the only way it happens if we start to adapt the gyms and make them a little bit more approachable.
Right.
Because once you find out that, hey, this is very simple, and you really like when you go into a gym, it should be an immersive experience. You can walk in, you can learn about the process. You have people to talk to. That's one of the main issues with open gyms is like you're not getting the same conversational aspect,
Hmm.
right? You're getting like someone that's brand new walking in and it's like maybe standing around, they don't really know what to do. And like you should, with those type of people, like slowly guide them, whether that be, like actionable items on the whiteboard, a leaderboard that makes them happy and wants to keep going,
Hmm.
reigniting the competitive drive in adults
Yeah.
where it's so common to like, hey, we're not competitive. Like we don't, in your workplace, maybe some of the best workplaces, work environments are competitive environments. And you need to reignite that competitiveness in your life where it can still be a friendly level, but it also pushes everyone around you to be better. And it's like, so why not make these gyms a place where you can elevate in the entire society,
Yeah.
as the product? Like the whole thing is you're building this place to heighten the level of society's awareness and just homeostasis. That's the product, right? The
Yeah.
gym isn't the product.
Hmm.
The product is what you get because of the gym.
Right.
And that's what like I think the lens should be kind of reframed as. It's like that's how we should approach gyms in this day and age
Hmm.
to support society in a way that we're seeing the direction it's headed, but really make sure we can capture as many people as possible and create that product as society overall is elevating.
Yeah. And one of the ideas that I actually really like that you said was like learning and like
Hmm.
teaching people. It almost makes sense. Like why provide a gym to, let's say, someone new walks in and they have no clue where to start or what to do.
Hmm.
It's like, why not fill that gap?
Right.
You know? Why not?
Hmm.
Because it makes complete sense to have some way for people to know what to do coming into your gym so they could better they come more because they understand like what I need to do
Hmm.
in order to make my life healthier, make other people's lives healthier around me once I've learned this info.
Yeah.
It almost seems like a no-brainer. Like,
Yeah.
and I can't believe I've like never really thought about it, but I love that idea
Yeah. And
actually.
it's like imagine like going up to a bike and you say like, here's what 1 hour of zone two can do. Here's what zone two is,
Hmm.
like really laying it out there. And it's like, it's either on a TV that flashes here and there, or
Right.
it's on like a little page or a poster. Like when you're just walking around the gym, you see that and it like goes into your mind and you start thinking about it. Oh, okay. It's
Mhm.
like now you have an action plan. Like you want to burn fat, like here's the reason why it's the best.
Yeah.
Even like playing an Andrew Huberman clip,
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
Like it doesn't even matter. Like as long as you get the point out there
Mhm.
and you're just providing education throughout the gym, and then you just because that's one of the things. Like that's the foundational level is education. And
Right.
that's why some people get turned off by it. But it's like if you, for me especially, if you show me why this works, then I'll be interested in it.
Yeah.
If I'm just doing it and I don't really know why, then I'm like in my head and I'm like, why does this work? You
I
know?
think that's with anyone, right?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
If you understand why this is going to better improve your own life, then
Hmm.
you're going to be more intrigued to want to see what it's about.
Yeah.
Next, we have William Goodge, who's running the Los Cayos de Florida currently, which is a 100-mile ultra marathon. Kudos. Let's go. I'm
Yeah.
I now, I wish I don't know whatever happened to it, but I wish he would have done the 20 marathons in 20 days, 20 cities, because that would have been pretty cool to see. Um, but he is running 100 miles, so
Yeah.
kudos. Good luck, Gooch. Um,
Beast.
beast, obviously. Next, we have an article I thought was pretty interesting. It's basically an article talking about F1 drivers and tennis pros that are training for like they're training their mental game basically.
Yeah, I like this. This is
Yeah.
cool.
So athletes basically aren't just training their bodies anymore. F1 drivers, tennis pros, and Olympic level athletes are now training their brains in mental performance labs to stay calm under pressure, focus longer, and waste less energy during competition. Basically, this men's health article covered the rise of mental gymnastics labs, where elite athletes use brainwave monitoring and biometric tracking, like video games, number drills, visualization, to improve what they call mental economy. And this article really focuses on the work from Dr. Riccardo Ceccarelli, and he's an Italy-based sports physician and founder of Formula Medicine, who has worked with F1 drivers and tennis players. And the goal of this was to not just think positive, but the goal was to train athletes to stay calm, precise, and efficient under stress. Um, Basically, like the main thing was the mental economy thing. Like mental economy is basically being able to think more efficiently during these times in order to preserve your glucose and energy stores to then be able to produce better during your race or um, you know, competition.
Yeah, this is kind of like the idea of like entering flow state and making decisions like subconsciously,
Yeah.
and it doesn't require too much brain power.
Mhm. I thought it was I thought it's really interesting because it's like it's getting to that point where you're shaving like any little advantage you can get, you're going to take it. So if mental clarity and mental focus can be that one extra second that you can shave off, like let's do it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because also Danco, he tweeted something I think a while back talking about um he said mental health equals physical health, and that there's this real big like line that a lot of people draw between physical health and mental health. Now obviously I'm going to kind of try to think about this in my perspective. Obviously I think physical health is going to bleed into your mental health. If you're active, it obviously there has been studies showing benefits of stress and depression, um like curing, not curing them, but helping you deal with those things, right? But I think there's a different side to it as well. Like if you could be sharper and faster, like
Mhm.
there's different aspects to mental training that physical training doesn't achieve. So like mental training, you could be sharper, save more energy during competitions, things like that, to then, up your game and like provide better products or um entertainment to others. So I think it's like they do equal each other, but there's different aspects of training to both that probably like can benefit you in ways that maybe you don't know about.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely I think they're totally different, but I
Mhm.
think they do complement each other to what you're
Yeah,
saying. To be like sharp and that requires a whole nother amount of effort
right.
in terms of like it's unique because like I was watching, I'm a big fan of the Founders podcast and I
Mhm.
like to watch and hear about these founders and how they do things. And what I've neglected, and I've done it like uh, I've neglected it many times. I don't take notes, you know.
Mhm.
These videos and podcasts are so good and like these things like really strike a nerve. I'm like, okay, good. I'm like interested in this. I'm gonna look this up, you know, later. And so now like what I've been doing is I'm gonna start taking notes in these podcasts that I'm listening to. And I'm gonna like key like the Steve Jobs whole thing where like for example, okay, the other night, Steve Jobs and talking about ignoring the noise of everything else around you.
Mhm.
And so what I did is I took time and I sat down and I journaled exactly Steve Jobs, you know, how, you know, what his belief is about ignoring the noise. And I did a research on it. And, you know, it described in detail like what he meant by that and pulled up interviews and stuff like that. And instead of just at a surface level saying, I really like the way he said that, like let's dive into it and like truly understand and how can I apply that to my life.
Mhm.
And so like that's another angle of like preparing your mental sharpness the same way you would go and say, I like that way. I like the way that guy does a clean and press. Like, let me see what are the benefits of that. Implementing it into your routine. The only difference is maybe like for us, we're so used to working out that no matter what, that will get done. We'll always set time aside to do the workout. But rarely will we set time aside to dive deeper into a topic we found interesting.
Right.
And so they both complement each other because you become a well-rounded individual. You gain more data points to collect, and then you can kind of have better conversations and really adjust your morals and how you want to live. That's all it's about by pulling, you know, from ideas and perspectives, and then you say, okay, well, like let's filter it and let's see how I can apply this to my life.
Mm.
And like that totally helps you on the mental aspect of of things, but it's like important to make sure you're setting time aside for the same like equally as physical as well as mental.
Yeah. And I agree. Like that's pretty much what I'm saying too, because I just don't think like Danco, yes, I do believe that health, physical health, can bleed into mental health and
Yeah,
mental
but
health.
this wasn't like a Substack article. It was just a quick note.
No, it was just a quick
Yeah.
note.
So he's just, you know,
Yeah.
spewing stuff
So
off.
he's
Like
just spewing some stuff. But yes, to like
we're just saying
ex-
it through our perspective.
expand more on it through our perspective. Yes, this is I believe that as well. And that's something that it's funny that you said you kind of looked it up too. I like literally just looked up like how do I better uh gain information and understand things better.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like what I found was, and I wrote it down here, it says what you need to do is like ask yourself questions
Mm-hmm.
during it. And it's also important that when you're taking information to not take in too much at one time because your brain is only going to be able to process so much in
Yeah.
that moment. So basically taking a topic from that and then asking yourself questions. What does this mean? Right? Okay. Now think about that. What does it mean? Write that down. Then you ask, what does it connect to what I already know? What you were saying. Okay, well, it connects to what I already know. Write that down. Why does this matter to you? Right? Because if it doesn't matter to you, you're not going to care and you're not going to take this info and remember this.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing is, can I explain it in plain language? Like you then take what you wrote down, right? Set it aside. Now you try to recall that info. It's like, okay, let me talk to, and I've done this with a camera, like just setting up a camera and like looking into it and then trying to explain a topic. It works. I'm telling you, it works. And if you want to gain some knowledge, like asking yourself questions about the topic and like you said, writing it down, but then also like trying to recall it and explain it, or even trying to just recall it to a friend and explain it. Like that stuff it really, it's huge. It really does up your mental game 100%.
Yeah, that is cool.
Hmm.
Because honestly, when you ask questions, then you can kind of look at it from different angles, and then you better understand the why of like it's that way.
Yeah. And it's almost like you're looking at it from a third person perspective,
Hmm.
almost, instead
Yeah.
of just like, oh, information's coming in. Like you're not asking any questions. You're like, oh yeah, I like the topic, like you
Well,
said.
especially with like social media, and you're just like processing it, and then like it's gone.
Yeah.
You're never like setting. I would say, and you've heard the story where it's like we'll kind of wrap this up quickly, but
Hmm.
they'll read a book, and you say like it's better to read the book 5 times than to read 10 books. Like read the same book 5 times because you'll find new pieces of information. And I find like that's so true because
Hmm.
you'll be reading a book and say some days you're not even focused and
Yeah.
you can't focus and you're just like
100%.
whatever. And you just read 10 pages like forcefully and you didn't really gain too much out of it. Consistently to understand that book, like you may have to read it a few times, but also it may
Hmm.
help to even take notes within it as well. It's something I'm going to start
Yeah.
doing. But yeah, I mean, it's just like setting time aside to make sure you're actually I would say gathering a few bits and pieces of important information
Hmm.
rather than increasing the volume of information. Like
Right.
under you maybe like find a few points throughout the week that really interest you and research that. And like
Hmm.
that's enough.
Yeah.
You don't have to like go crazy.
Right. I agree. And that's kind of what, like, from my research on it,
Mhm.
like, that's what it was saying. Like,
Yeah.
you don't, because everybody just, they're like, oh, I need to get all this info. Like, I really want to get all this info.
Mhm.
Well, you're not going to get the full grasp of it
Yeah.
if you don't like just take it in bits and pieces
Yeah.
and really understand it. So, um, next we have an article from Whoop saying they added telehealth AI features to wearable fitness trackers. Um, so Whoop is expanding beyond just being a fitness and recovery tracker by adding telehealth and more personalized AI features. The big update is that Whoop users will be able to access on-demand telehealth visits through the app, where clinicians can review things like wearable data, lab reports, and medical history. Whoop is also partnering with HealthX to let users sync electronic health record data, including diagnoses, medications, and procedures. Um, this is it. Like, so if you guys haven't followed though, Perplexity released their Perplexity Health. Well, it's kind of cool to think that if Whoop has their wearable, so like not they're like basically I guess like a monopoly. It's like they're bringing it. They have their wearable and they have their AI to then be this all-in-one ecosystem for you to use. So on the AI side, Whoop is adding features like My Memory and proactive check-ins, which are designed to make its coaching more personalized by using both biometric data and user-provided context, like we saw with Perplexity AI Health. The bigger story is that Whoop is trying to move from a wearable that simply tracks your body to a broader health platform that could give your data, connect it with medical context, and give more tailored recommendations. But I guess I don't think it's this way, but do you think it's like too invasive to like,
Okay, so I'll say this. This is a pretty good example that just happened recently
uh,
with OpenAI, ChatGPT.
mm,
And so you had a ton of startups using like they were making a finance dedicated AI that would run through all your finances
mm,
and check it all out and that's like their main product.
yeah,
And OpenAI recently launched finance option built into ChatGPT for pro users. And
okay,
I do use that. And it pretty much destroyed every single startup you can imagine. It's that accurate. It's super great. And it's funny because Mark Cuban posted on Twitter on X. He said, "Your company's main product is OpenAI's feature." And it's so true
mm,
because like, yeah, that's what they don't understand is Sam Altman was saying, "Look, we're going to create a super app." And that's like another piece to the puzzle. The app is going to
wow,
do everything. The app
yeah,
is going to do your finances. It's going to connect to health. And so, yeah, sure, like you say like Perplexity AI with the health stuff, and then you say they have a monopoly, and like Whoop has that as well. but no one has better models than OpenAI, Google Gemini, Claude at the moment. And so it's like if you can implement your AI into something that's better
Mhm.
and it's more seamless, then yeah, I don't understand why I'm surprised, I'll say this, that Whoop is choosing to have their own AI
Yeah,
built in. I think that they should have partnered with ChatGPT.
that's a great point because there's no way. I mean, they probably just started building this AI, so there's no way that with what they have now, like they don't have as many years of experience with AI as ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. Like these guys are going to be at the very top. So it's like what?
Yeah, but I guess it's important to understand as well, like maybe they don't need the highest level of AI. Like it's not like that crucial,
Yeah,
but I mean maybe this saves them money in a way. I guess it could.
maybe so.
But yeah, I mean it's interesting. I think like I don't know, like what happens when Garmin can be integrated into ChatGPT.
Yeah. That's something I was trying to figure out, dude,
Mhm.
is how do I integrate my Garmin watch into ChatGPT, like for live updates?
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of stuff you would have to do in order to actually make it work. Like you have to
See,
open
what's
up,
up with that, dude? Garmin, they're close, you know? They're close to being cut off.
yeah, seriously.
They're falling behind, dude.
Yeah. I don't know why. Like they have some, like for what I'm talking about in particular, like they have like so many guardrails to like keep you from
In their
up
ecosystem?
in their ecosystem. And like you have to literally open up this whole like I think it's like an MCP server or something like that in order to have it like live feed your AI to get this data.
Wow.
It's like,
Yeah.
but the other way you could do it is to upload like the actual export files from
Every
Garmin
single
Connect.
time, yeah.
But yeah, you have to do it manually every single time. And it's like, I want that stuff to be uploaded live, like every
Mhm.
week.
There
I
may be
don't
a
even have to
way
touch
we
it.
could design an agent to do that
hmm
in Claude or ChatGPT.
So I looked into that as well. So co-work, I was hoping I was going to be able to achieve something with co-work,
Mhm.
but it doesn't have access to the Garmin Connect.
I
Like,
see.
so it's like you have to go through these third parties,
Yeah.
and then that third party has to go through Garmin,
Mhm.
and then it has to come back to the third party. And then even then, that third party will only upload it every week. First main headline hitting the timeline.
After a brutal 600-kilometer ultra run, Arda Saatçi has one message for everyone. So he's a 28-year-old German ultra runner, completed a brutal 604-kilometer, roughly 372-mile run from Death Valley to Santa Monica Pier as part of Red Bull's Cyborg Season Ultra 600.
Mm,
And he calls himself the Cyborg because if you see in that photo, he's jacked as
yeah,
well.
he's a unit, bro.
So the original goal was to complete the route in under 96 hours. He ended up finishing in 123 hours and 21 minutes. The route included desert highways, sections of Route 66, nearly 6,000 meters of elevation gain, extreme heat, sleep deprivation, swollen feet, and pinched abdominal muscle. More than 1 million people watched through a live YouTube stream, according to Red Bull. The story ended with an emotional moment. Sachi reached Santa Monica Pier, hugged his mother, and celebrated with ice cream, which had been part of their promise.
That's awesome.
So, also, like they were saying that this is one of there was like multiple streamers that ran with him because he just live streamed the whole thing,
Yeah.
and it like went super viral. Again, tons of people were watching, and Kyle from Nelk also did a 100-mile live stream, and it did really well.
hmm
But yeah, I mean, cool athlete for Red Bull.
Yeah.
This is kind of it's showing that, endurance is becoming more than a sport. Obviously, like live entertainment because people were just watching, personal branding and motivational storytelling are like the three components that we're seeing. And so, extreme endurance challenge. It was a live stream journey,
hmm
athlete storytelling, social media spectacle, brand backed human performance experiment. This is backed by Red Bull, which is probably one of the greatest human performance brands of all time. And like if you're
Well,
sponsored by them, like you're at the peak.
yeah.
And it was obviously a motivational message. His
hmm
message was not like, look what I did, but I'm a normal person chasing something extreme. and that should make you question what you are capable of. Similar to Jake's, post at the very beginning.
100%.
And so the Rome was live streamed to a massive audience. It is no longer about just about the finish time. They were just really watching for the story, the pain, the setbacks, all that stuff. Just really getting a full deep dive, you know. And so the message for the audience is not that everyone should run 600 kilometers, but your limits may be further away than you think. And so he was really, harping on that, just trying to use himself as a megaphone, like we've seen
Hmm.
in other athletes, and just continue to inspire others to do hard things. It doesn't have to be that, but it can be something at your own magnitude.
Right.
And it's clearly showing that we're also seeing like it's a rise of extreme wellness and performance culture. Like he had tons of viewers on this live stream, and people are increasingly fascinated by ultra marathons, hybrid athletes, sleep deprivation challenges, extreme heat exposure, long form physical suffering, mind over body. Like it's so inspiring to so many people that it's showing so much coverage, or it's seeing so much coverage, right?
Yeah. I think it's so entertaining because it is so raw. Like it's
Yeah.
like so unfiltered. It's you and your pain and your thoughts. And especially it being live stream, like you're seeing the full capacity of it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, it says basically like this is what they think is going to happen because I kind of did some context research on this.
Hmm.
They really think that now, like, especially we've seen with like Max Jolliffe and how his King of Moab hit 1 million views.
Yeah.
The future of social media for athletes is storytelling, like giving a reason why and really creating something behind it,
Hmm.
you know? And obviously he did have a setback. He didn't finish in the 93 hours that he wanted to. He finished at 123, but he kept going, you
Yeah.
know? So it says this was not the first time that Sachi had embraced such an extreme challenge. Each year he has taken on a new Cyborg season project, having started the trend in 2024 when he ran 3,000 kilometers from Berlin to New York City. This was followed in 2025 when he ran the length of Japan, completing 72 marathons in 43 days. To find out what he has in store for 2027, check out the Cyborg season website on redbull.com. So it looks like he's just going to continue to do these extreme feats.
We'll have to continue to follow him
Yeah.
because,
Just to give some more context, despite his best efforts, he was unable to reach the target of completing the challenge in 96 hours. When the amount of time he had elapsed, Sachi had completed 458 kilometers. He was bitterly disappointed, but had a positive message for more than 350,000 live viewers. I gave it my all, he admitted. I'm sorry for my team. You wanted to see Arda, and here he is. With all his strengths and weaknesses, I may not be the fastest, but I will never give up. You will never see that from me. Never. After receiving a bouquet of flowers with a handwritten message from fans in Germany at 471 kilometers, he needed a longer period of sleep to reset his mind and body ahead, reaching the 500-kilometer mark. So,
wow.
super inspiring, cool story. He's also, if you check out his Instagram, he's got like 2.8 million followers. So he inspires a ton of people.
Yeah.
And yeah, super inspiring watch, honestly.
And I can see
It's,
why. I
yeah, it's
mean,
awesome.
crazy. And okay. And in the desert, bro.
Yeah,
Wow. I mean, an absolute beast.
it's awesome.
Yeah. Our next headline is the Science Daily article that we were talking about. So this was a 47-year study that found that fitness decline begins around age 35. But I want to emphasize it is not ever too late to focus on your physical health. So researchers from Karolinska Institute analyzed data from the Swedish Physical Activity and Fitness Study, which tracked the same group of people around age 16 all the way into their early 60s. So super like dialed in research here. Basically, instead of comparing a group of 20 year olds to a different group of 60-year olds, this study literally followed the individuals over their lifetime. And this makes the findings like that much more meaningful. But the big takeaway is basically physical fitness, muscular strength, and muscle endurance tend to peak around age 35 and decline afterward. But the hopeful part is that people who became more physically active later in adulthood still saw meaningful improvements of 5 to 10%, showing that age basically does not erase the body's ability to adapt. This 47-year-old Swedish longitudinal study followed 427 men and women born in 1958, repeatedly measuring their physical capacity from adolescence into their older adulthood. So they looked at several markers. They looked at their aerobic fitness, VO2 max, muscular strength, muscle endurance, muscle power, physical activity habits over time. And the study found that physical capacity was generally stable or improving earlier in life, but after about age 30, the trend started moving downward, and that decline continued with age and became more noticeable later in adulthood. So I thought this was pretty interesting because knowing that at the age of 35, this is when your fitness begins to decline. Well, you can then know, like, okay, well, obviously, for me personally, I'm not 35. So I still have room to grow, right? And I could then adjust my training based off that finding, right? But if you are age 35 or above, like, okay, well, my fitness is declining, but you do know now that because a lot of people think, even like, for example, some people at my day job, they think that, oh man, why work out because I'm already older and I'm not going to see any kind of meaningful improvement. But really, I mean, like we saw with the 77-year-old man who ran the Badwater, he came back the next year and still improved.
Yeah, there I mean, it's not saying that you're like you're just there's no way around it. Like
Right.
you're going to decline slowly, but you're still going to I mean, we've had plenty of studies, even a recent study that was probably a couple months ago,
Hmm.
front loading strength and cardiovascular endurance together at an early age before midlife increases life expectancy and your ability to maintain that.
Right.
And so, like, yeah, you have to put in the work beforehand, but even if you haven't, you can still get started and see amazing benefits.
Yeah. And some of the main takeaways here were that so physical decline may start earlier than most people think. Obviously, age 35. A lot of people think that physical decline is something that starts maybe in their 50s or 60s, but it really starts around, well, where it's measurable, it starts around age 35. But that doesn't mean, again, you fall apart at 35. That just means if you are actively training, maintaining muscle, and protecting your aerobic base, the slow slide can just begin earlier than expected, essentially. Um, but the decline, also another thing to add, the decline is not just about cardio. Um, so it was not only about the decline in your VO2 max, but the decline showed up across all areas. So it was aerobic capacity, strength, endurance, and power. And that matters because healthy aging is not just about being able to run. It's also about being able to climb stairs, carry groceries, get off the floor, maintain balance. These things matter as you get old. The most important part of the story was not that fitness declines, it is that people who became active later still improved. The study found increasing physical activity later in adulthood was associated with meaningful improvements, again, around 5 to 10%.
Pretty
Lastly,
solid.
the last takeaway is the best time to train was yesterday. The next best time is right now. For younger listeners, the message is kind of to build the habits early. Do Basically don't wait until the decline becomes obvious. And then for older adults, the message is basically it's never too late to start now on your physical health. Even if you're 40, 50, or 60, your body can still improve with, consistent training.
Right on.
Next is
Enhanced games want to make performance enhancing drugs mainstream, and they're coming to
yes.
Vegas.
Hmm.
So the
Vegas,
enhanced game
baby.
so the enhanced games are a planned sport sports event in Las Vegas where athletes will be allowed to use certain performance enhancing drugs under medical supervision. The event is positioned as an alternative to traditional elite sports where PEDs are banned. Organizers argue that doping already exists in sports, but it happens secretly. So their model is more transparent and medically controlled. The inaugural event is being promoted around swimming, track, weightlifting, with major prize money for athletes. And so, kind of like what the outsiders are saying that like don't agree
Mhm.
with this model is like, well, there's so many athletes in elite sports that are doping that your model actually won't be that impressive because the human performance aspect won't be that high
Yeah.
because all these athletes are doping anyways. And that's a good perspective. Like, what if they actually are? And then you create this model, like everyone's like, oh yeah, this is gonna be awesome. They're all on roids, and then you get there and it's like it's a normal game, and you're like, oh crap. Then it just blows up, and you're like, wait, what about all this then?
Yeah.
And then it
So
just
all these athletes are actually doping.
yeah, and then it just exposes everything. So that would
Dang, that's
be
actually a really good
unique.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah. The controversy is that anti-doping organizations see this as an unsafe and damaging to sport. WADA was or has called the concept dangerous and irresponsible, arguing that PED use can carry serious health risk and that the event threatens the integrity of legitimate competition. But I don't know. I disagree with that take. It's like we know it's the enhanced games. It's not the same.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like bodybuilding. I mean,
Yeah.
they take PEDs to get bigger. I
Yeah.
mean, and you know that. So
Hmm.
it's like, and it's still a sport. So
Right.
why is it?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
in this case, you're just making if this product works, like if there actually is a leap in human performance, and it's going to be more fun to watch.
Right.
And like obviously,
If
you would. It's just like wrestling. Like it's almost like wrestling. What wrestling is to UFC.
mhm.
Like with UFC, you're like, okay, strategy, human performance. This is cool. It's a nice mix of both, but you know there's limitations. They were dehydrated the night before, but you know there's strategy and technique and timing.
Mhm.
Then you go to like WWE, like these guys are jacked, like they look awesome, they have a cool story to tell, they're jumping off ropes, doing crazy shit,
Yeah.
and it's like that's fun to watch, but you know there's not too much like strategy and limitations, you know it's just for fun.
Yeah.
It's the same way of like a professional sport, like swimming or track or whatever you want to whatever they want to do, and then you look at the enhanced games, okay, they're going to be running faster. It's like the WWE. So it's
Mhm.
pretty cool. I think that's
Yeah.
cool. I think it's a but you need to look at it that way. Like I don't think it's going to hurt the actual integrity of a real sport.
No, I don't think so either. It's it's all entertainment at the end of the day, right? So
Yeah.
it's like what do you enjoy watching? So,
Yeah, and it's just showing how far human performance economy is moving. Like it's not just about athletes using PEDs, it connects to bigger cultural trends. Hormone optimization, TRT, peptides, biohacking, longevity clinics, recovery technology, wearable data, superhuman performance branding. The enhanced games are taking what already existing gym culture, elite sport, and biohacking circles and turning it into a public facing sports product.
yeah.
Which, I mean, it sounds fun.
Yeah, it really does. I think I actually saw someone on Reels one time, talking about he was going to start it. And like he literally gave his whole stack of what he's taking. Like I was like,
Yeah.
wow, this is actually insane.
That is cool, dude.
Yeah.
And some of these like athletes are like retired or whatnot.
Hmm.
So, I mean, what,
Yeah.
one of the things they're all worried about though is it can influence younger athletes and gym culture. Even if the event is for adults, the message can trickle down. If enhanced athletes become famous, break records, and earn money, younger athletes may start seeing PEDs as a normal path to success.
Mm.
It reflects where performance culture is heading. The broader culture is already obsessed with better sleep, better recovery, better hormones, better supplements, better data, better output. The enhanced games takes that mindset to the extreme. Now, yes, I get it. I'm curious, just like, is it okay? Yeah, sure, it's bad that it could influence younger athletes,
Yeah.
but with what we're seeing in the next 5 to 10 years with peptides, and if these PEDs are now more talked about, like, eventually you got to think like you're gonna reach a point in society where you're automatically like everyone's on something because
Hmm.
like when you picture an alien that's so advanced You're like, well, of course they're not going to have any problems. Of course they're superhuman. Of course they're very strong. Of course their body can operate very efficiently.
Hmm.
Well, it's like, okay, when do we reach that point and how do we do it? And I feel like that's kind of the bridge of like reaching that point. Like total human
Yeah.
optimization is just an advancement in civilization.
Yeah.
And it's like that may just become the normal. And not like for some reason we're seeing a lot of perspectives like this is bad, this is not good. Well, just give it some time and it may just be that everyone is on their own stack because it's so good. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you be on it? Because then
Yeah.
it can increase your lifespan beyond belief and then you just never know.
Right. But like what I guess my next thought would be why does it come off as this is so bad, right? Well, I guess in that case it would be like, you see the results now of people who have taken PEDs and either have had problems and things like that. But if you just kind of leave it at that, like it has these problems, whatever, like we're not even going to go any further, then you don't know if you could eventually reach a point where that side effect could just be null and void by changing this one thing inside of the PED. It's like, I think, like, yeah, I think I completely agree with you. I think you could definitely see some improvements by just constantly reiterating the product and
Hmm.
trying to figure out, okay, well, how can we eliminate this? And it could really become something beneficial to all human life.
Yeah. I mean, and there's like a ton of peptides that have very, very, very small side effects. So,
Yeah, very true.
I mean, it's just a matter of time that we start to see this stuff become normalized. But yeah, I think
Mhm.
enhanced games, pretty cool idea. I'm curious to see like how the format is, and it may be super fun to watch. We'll just have to find out.
Yeah, it might be really cool. Or we might find out that all athletes are on PEDs.
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
knows?
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Um, we are starting a new thing that is called the study of the week. Basically, it's a study that we find that that is we find is the most actionable, or we find is the most interesting to talk about in the week. And this week we have one from Frontiers in Public Health. It is a comparative effects of different intensities of aerobic and resistance exercise on glycemic control and cardiorespiratory fitness in middle-aged older patients with type 2 diabetes.
Strength training, blood sugar, and why muscle matters. Published in Frontiers in Public Health. It's a systematic review and network meta analysis. This population total was 1,300 middle aged and older adults with type 2 diabetes across 29 randomized controlled trials. The main idea was that different types of exercises improve different parts of health. Resistance training helped blood sugar markers, higher intensity aerobic training helped cardio fitness. So, the researchers reviewed 29 randomized controlled trials with 1,300 participants. They reviewed these types of exercises, which is aerobic training, resistance training, different intensities of each, and combinations of both. They looked at markers like HbA1c, which is a long term blood sugar control, fasting glucose, blood sugar after not eating, VO2 peak, cardio fitness, blood pressure, and resting heart rate. And they wanted to really know which types of exercise improve blood sugar, fitness, and cardiovascular health the most. So, what they found was that resistance training helped blood sugar control. High intensity resistance training reduced HbA1c, which is one of the main markers used to track long term blood sugar regulation. That matters because it shows that lifting weights is not just about strength or appearance. Strength training is metabolic training. Muscle is one of the main places your body stores and uses glucose. So, when you build and train muscle, you are improving your body's ability to handle the energy you eat. This is why you'll see someone like that has a lot of muscle can eat a lot more calories
Mhm.
because their muscles are soaking that in and regulating their blood sugar a lot better than people with lower amounts of muscle.
Right.
So muscle gives your body somewhere useful to put glucose. Second, they found that moderate resistance training helped fasting glucose. The study found that moderate intensity resistance training improved fasting glucose in a way that the pattern is clear. Resistance training was not just improving muscle, it was improving health markers connected to blood sugar control. For general, The message is do not wait until your blood work is bad to care about metabolic health.
Mm,
And third, they talked about higher intensity cardio. Basically, the study was finding that their aerobic training improved VO2 peak, which is a marker of cardiorespiratory fitness. Strength training builds the metabolic machinery, while cardio builds the engine. Most people need both. And so now I understand that this was a study about, in specific, type 2 diabetes patients, but
mhm,
does not mean that this is not useful to the average person because the same principles apply, but maybe at different levels of measurement.
mhm,
So most people think about the exercise in terms of calorie burn, but this study points to a better question. What is training? What is this training doing to my body? Is it helping me build muscle? Is it helping me? Is it improving how I handle glucose? Is it improving my heart and lungs? Is it making me more resilient as I age? In which it's really doing all of those things.
right.
Exercise is not just about burning energy. Exercise changes how your body changes or handles energy. That's the bigger lesson here.
Mhm,
Strength training will help you regulate blood sugar. Cardiorespiratory will supplement a better cardiorespiratory fitness, which can also help you lift more weights. It all works hand in hand. And it's really, at the end of the day, all about blood sugar regulation.
yeah. And that's it really is a huge trend, like blood sugar regulation, metabolic health, like, and it's a huge trend for a good reason
Yeah,
because that stuff really matters in terms of your overall health.
right.
Yeah, it's like probably the most fundamental basic layer to it.
Hmm.
So stuff's important, guys.
Very.
Um, but thank you guys for watching another episode of the Coliseum Media Podcast.
Yeah, if you guys made it this far, thank you so much. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the content. If
Hmm.
not, then whatever. Just tell us why. Comment, share, whatever you want to do. Share this with as many people as you think would care about this content.
Hmm.
Um, and go enjoy your day today. Go get some steps in. Enjoy the sunlight, and just have a great day. And
Yeah,
try to make someone's life better today through conversation and community. So, yeah.
100%. Catch you guys later.
Thanks, guys. Peace.
Peace.